Hey guys, you're watching MetalWani TV, and today we have Andy James with us. Thank you, Andy, for taking the time to do the interview with MetalWani. Alright. Let's start at the beginning. At what age did you pick up the guitar, and what inspired you to pick up the guitar?
I was 12 years old when I started playing guitar, and I was into stuff like Guns N' Roses, Slash, and all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of decided that I really wanted to do guitar when I was 12. Got my dad to buy me a guitar, and that was it really. I just sort of started.
That's good. So, in recent years, you have previously used EDM guitars, but now you are endorsed by ESP.
Yeah.
And you recently had a new signature ESP LTD AJ1 out. So, can you give a rundown on the specs of that guitar?
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty simple guitar. The H series was like the one that I had. I've still got, and it was like the double cutaway. It's a fairly standard LTD model. And when they said, we want to do a signature guitar, it was basically just, I really like this guitar. Can we sort of do this, but do something different? So it pretty much kept the same horizon body and stuff, and we just changed a few of the bits. The headstock's different. Pickups are obviously different. They're new EMGs. They're 57 in the bridge, 66 in the neck, and they're fully active. Even though they look, passive, they don't even look like EMGs, but EMG are doing a lot to change the designs of their picks and pickups and stuff. But these pickups, I believe, are one of the best things they've ever made. So I'm kind of thankful that they've stuck them in the guitar for me. They sort of finished the look off the guitar because we had like matte black paint and just pearl binding. It's a pretty simple guitar, one volume, three-way switch. It's nothing really that different from a normal guitar. Just things that I like. And then the pickups kind of fit the look of the guitar perfectly.
So can we expect a 7-stringer version or maybe a left-hand version anytime soon?
I don't know about left-handed, but yeah, there's. I don't know. I can't really say, but like possibly a 7-string.
Future.
Yeah, I mean, I play a lot of 7 as well, and I've got an H1007 which I like, and I've been using that all the time. So yeah, I guess we might look into that at some point.
That's good. So you have been recently using Wani amps instead of like Blackstar you have used in the past. So what is your ultimate tonal goal with the combination of this ESP, Wani, EMG, and what is the exact sound that you are trying to, that we can identify with, like this is the Andy James sound?
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I like stuff that's pretty smooth sounding, but pretty heavy and got plenty of crunch at the same time. So, I find with using the Wani gear that, I get everything that I need out of it, like the crunch, the smoothness. The VH100 is my main amp that I use. I love that amp, it just sounds killer. And it's perfect for me. All I do is run a tube screamer into a noise gate into the red channel, both gains on, and that's it really. And then I use a bit of delay for solos and stuff like that. But I keep my rig pretty simple, because when you're touring a lot and stuff, you don't want loads of shit to go wrong. So it's quite good to have a simple setup, and it's quick and easy to change over, especially if you're doing festivals and stuff like that. I've got like a multi-core which comes from the back of the amp, set up my pedals up. That's it, plug it in
and play.
Yeah.
That's good. So coming to your music, Andy, you have released 3 full-length albums, 2 EPs now. So starting all the way back from Machine to the newest Psychic Term Fusion EP, there's a lot of change in your sound.
Yeah.
So how did that came about?
I don't know really. I think you get older and you develop as a musician, and I think the longer you play and the older you get, a certain amount of maturity sets in, and I think also along with that your ability changes as well. There's things that you could probably do that you couldn't do before, through just practicing and playing more. So I guess the sound is very much in the beginning was like any idea that I kind of had lying around. I wanted to try and record and get an album just done. Because I think the point of Machine was, 2 things really: to have done at least 1 album in my life. Because that was the sort of thing when I was doing that. I was still working full time, and you know, I did it all myself. Well, a couple of friends helped me, you know, just to sort of produce it and, you know, put it together. But I just wanted to do that and put it out. You know, I didn't really expect to make any money or anything like that. I guess it was the sort of thing where, you know, I'd put it on like CD Baby or something and then promote it on forums and see what the reaction was like. But the reaction was actually pretty good. You know, people like the way that I write songs and like the tone and stuff. So I guess from that I decided to, you know, do more of it. And you know, as a few years went past before I then started doing In the Wake of Chaos, and I spent a lot more time on doing that. Again, I did that album myself, so it doesn't probably sound the best because I did everything. You know, again, I think there was more. I think that album was the first time I started playing songs in the style of how I wanted to start playing. And then, you know, by the time, I mean, Chaos 7 was actually demos from another album that I was going to do, and then we just put it out as an EP. So that wasn't really, I didn't really develop that any further. That was going to be an album, and then I just sort of, I don't know, something. I think I probably joined Sacred Mother Tongue at that point, and you know, I was busy doing the band and stuff. So yeah, a friend of mine said, "Oh, you know, have you got any stuff lying around that you want to put out?" So I said, "Yeah, okay." I gave him these 4 tracks, and we put them out. So then after that, you know, the self-titled album is probably, you know, in my eyes, it's sort of the first album for me, because it's, you know, the one where we did it properly. Lee, the drummer from Sacred Mother Tongue, did all the drums, and Scott Atkins, who's done the first, well, the only 2 Sacred Mother Tongue albums that we've done. He's done those as well, and so he helped me, you know, do this. You know, we got a really good professional sound, and I don't know, everything about the songs. I mean, I think the record took about 2 or 3 years to write and get around to finishing. But yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of that album. You know, I think it was, again, it was when I did it. It was like, I think I'd sort of found. I think I'd got to where I kind of wanted to be sound-wise, and I think now I just want to kind of try and develop that into something a bit more. I don't know really. I think the next thing we'll just see what happens. I mean, Psychic Transfusion came about because. The guy who helped me do that did all the recording. All I've done is the solos. I didn't record anything else. But I wrote 2 of the songs in demo form, and then I gave them to him, and he just re-recorded everything. And then and I just did the solos at home. And he wrote some backing tracks for Jam Track Central, and they got sent in. And then Johnny from Jam Track Central, he sent me one of the tracks and said, "Oh, we've had this come in. It'd be perfect for you to play over." So basically, I took that track, I put it into Cubase, I listened to it a bunch of times and I jammed over it. And then within 2 hours, I'd written the whole song, and that was became Synergy, the opening track. So yeah, I basically just recorded it, sent it back to Johnny and back to Alan, who recorded the song and wrote the song. And he loved it, so we decided to work on an EP together. And then, you know, one of my favourite guitar players is Paul Wardingham. And, you know,
you collaborated on.
Yeah, I mean, we had a solo section that, you know, I didn't really know quite what to do with it. And as soon as I kind of thought about it, I thought, right, well, there's only one guy I think that could, you know, make this sound awesome. So I sent it to him, and, you know, he was more than happy to you know, lend us his shredding ability. And came up with an amazing solo, so it kind of just finished that whole thing off. And you know, now I'm thinking about, you know, writing another full-length album. So I don't know how that's going to pan out yet. I mean, I've got a few ideas like on my phone that I was, you know, stuck in front of my amp or whatever. Yeah, apart from that, I don't know. I mean, we've got Sacred stuff, new Sacred stuff that's just come out. So we're going to be touring that this year. We're going to be focusing on the band. So I mean, you know, I've got a lot to do between now and maybe when I start doing another record, so we'll see what happens.
That's really great. You collaborated with Paul Wardingham on the latest EP, and you did a collaboration with, I guess, Wani with ESP. So
I did. Well, me and Prashant are talking about doing an album. So I mean, the next album that might come out, you know, it will probably be a collaboration between me and him. You know, it's something different for me because you know, predominantly I'm doing a lot of, you know, rock and metal, and you know, Prashant is very much a groover, so you know, he's got a good, you know, funk element to his playing, and you know, he's great to work with. We always have like a really fun time like working out. So yeah, it should be interesting. There's a few songs, you know, back and forth on emails. So hopefully I'll get out to LA at some point, and we'll we'll do some recording. We'll film it all as well and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, we did one video, and we're gonna put that song out soon, hopefully.
That's great. Really looking forward to that song. So people want to see your solo act on stage. Like, you know, Jeff Loomis does that, even Sash does that, why does that?
I know, yeah.
Are you thinking about playing your solo stuff live on stage apart from Second Unit?
I have done, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I would probably rather do it with a band than backing tracks.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, exactly, with a fuller band.
backing tracks can be very difficult to just, you know, feed off a band and feed off a vibe of a gig.
Yeah.
You know, it can be very sterile, and sometimes it can be, you know, weird. I mean, if you've got a good sound system, good monitoring, and it's all good, then, you know, it's great. But sometimes, you know, when you end up doing like you know, like the trade shows and stuff, sometimes it can be a bit, you know, like, it can be hard. But yeah, I mean, I dare say at some point, you know, I'd like to, you know, get a band together and actually do some of this stuff live. I think my performances of a lot of these songs will probably be a lot more how I want them to be with a band than. No, because I do the solo stuff and everything, but you know, my favourite thing to do is play with my band like live, you know, because there's just nothing like, you know, playing with three other guys, you know, that you'll work off and have a laugh with. Yeah, so, you know, hopefully. I mean, Jeff Loomis seems to be doing amazingly well with his band and you know, doing a lot of tours. And you know, he's a great player. Actually, you might see a collaboration between me and him for a song.
That's really good.
We've thrown some ideas around, so yeah, you never know.
Really looking forward to that if that album does.
Yeah.
Coming back to playing, your approach to playing or shredding, I would say, is very melodic, and your phrasing is absolutely beautiful. So, is the melodic element something you taught yourself, or it came out naturally?
I think it just manifests itself from my influences, you know, like I like, you know, obviously I like technical guitar playing, but I think I've always gravitated towards those, you know, types of guitar players that include a lot of melody in their playing as well. You know, I think early on, like from an instrumental point of view, you know, Satriani was a big influence, you know, like the Surfing with the Alien stuff. I mean, it probably wasn't necessarily technically an influence on me, but more, you know, how he writes his songs and how he puts his stuff together. And so, yeah, I've always been conscious of the fact that that's always something that, you know, you should provide the listener with you know, something musical, you know. I mean, I spent a lot of years when I was younger, like, just shredding for the sake of it, and I think, you know, I kind of felt like there was something missing out of my playing, you know, and it was, you know, being able to sort of create a melody, you know, whether you're improvising or writing a song or whatever. But I don't know, I think you want to try and create a mood with your music and you know, try and draw somebody in. And you know, when you do stuff that feels quite anthemic, it can make you feel a certain way. You know, and even though there's the shred going on and stuff, there's you know, quite always an anthemic theme that I'm trying to get across. I mean, like there's that song on Psychic Transfusion called In the Fading Light, which is quite a slow ballad. I mean, I haven't done it live yet because you know, I need a 7-string guitar and I've been promoting my AJ1, so you know, I haven't got around to playing that song live yet. But you know, that song for me is quite, you know, powerful in terms of like just letting the melody shine for at least most of the song. You know? And then obviously there's the solo and stuff, but you know, I think ultimately my playing is always trying to get to that point where I'm writing like the ultimate melody or the ultimate song. I don't really think I've done it yet, but hopefully one day I'll write a song and it'll be, you know, hopefully half as good as like, you know, Always With Me, Always With You, or For the Love of God or something like that, you know, but you never know. It might happen one day.
Shine On Through is an example from your first album, maybe?
Yeah, I haven't played that song in such a long time, but yeah, I mean, I do like that song. It's got a positive sound.
Exactly.
So, but everything I've done
happy
since,
for you.
Yeah, not a lot of my music does actually, but I think a lot of the self-titled album, I was going through some personal stuff, and I basically felt like shit for a lot of that recording process. So I think it's got quite a dark sound because of that.
It does.
But that's the nature of playing music. I mean, the guitar reflects your emotion.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, when I get to that point where I'm really, really happy in my life, everything will be in the key of E major.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, you also play with UK metal band called Second Mother Tongue. So, how did that came about? How did you meet those guys, and what's the stuff you are working on apart from the new album you came out? You've been touring recently, so any plans of touring in India or?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, stranger things have happened. I mean, we ended up doing a tour of China last year.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. You know, really, really good response. Great. You know, and we had good coverage as well. You know, back in the UK for Metal Hammer magazine, which a photographer John, he came out and he did all the photos for it and everything, and then put it into the magazine. It looks amazing. It was like a 4-page thing. And it caught like really good shots of the crowd, of the band, and all that stuff. So yeah, you know, I mean, if there was a call to do a tour in India and enough people wanted to come and support the band, then yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah, I mean, I got in the band through a friend of mine that was a judge on a guitar competition. I mean, my whole career started from this one guitar competition which I won. Yeah. And through them I got to know the guys at Ernie Ball, and I got to know Jamie Humphries. And Jamie Humphries introduced me to Lick Library to do more of the metal stuff. So that's how that started. You know, really in a nutshell story there. But this competition, a guy called Giz Butt, who was in the Prodigy for a while, he was one of the judges, and you know, we kind of became pally after that. You know, friends and stuff. And he always said to me, he said, you know, you're great doing the solo stuff and that, but he said, I think you really shine being in the band. Yeah. So I think he was keeping his eye out for like an opportunity in the band and stuff. And Rob, his manager for his band, The More I See, there was an opening came up in a band, and Giz told me about it, and he told me to check out the MySpace. And you know, I listened to it. I think Force Fed was the first, the original version of Force Fed was the first song I ever heard. And I think it was Darren's voice more than anything that I was really impressed with. You know, because I thought that, you know, it was something that I could definitely write for, and you know, first and foremost, that was important for me to find a singer that I could, you know, really write for, and you know, write good songs and stuff, so they could, you know, shine as a vocalist. So anyway, you know, long story short, I mean, they saw my YouTube stuff, so they knew I could play. Yeah. They just wanted to see if I was an arsehole or not. So we just kind of met up, and you know, we all hit it off, and you know, we. I've been good friends ever since. So. Yeah, that's it really. That was like 5 years ago. So.
You also played recently in Australia with the Jason Becker concert. So
no, I played in Amsterdam.
Yeah, you played in Amsterdam. Sorry.
Yeah.
So how was that experience playing with other guitarists or something?
That was cool. I met some really cool people on that tour. I met Matthias Eklund.
Yeah.
Marcos Foley.
Yeah.
That was cool. Who else did I meet? Stu Ham, the bass player for Satchel and Vine. There was loads of cool people there. You know, got to hang out. It was a really good week of just rehearsing and hanging out, and then the one show. But I mean, the kind of most nerve-wracking thing about it was doing the gig, and then Jason Becker was on Skype on the laptop watching the show from the side of the stage, watching all the artists.
That's great.
And it was a really good show, really good experience. So I'm just proud to be a part of that.
That's great. Shred music is on a kind of revival in UK. You know, the players from the likes of Guthrie, or maybe Tom Tuel, Sean Buxer. So, which players do you admire most amongst your peers?
What, in the British scene?
Maybe in the British scene and overall scene, maybe.
Well, yeah, British. There's shout outs to a few guys. I mean, obviously Guthrie. I mean, he's kind of on top of the pile for the British shredders. A guy called Tom Quayle, who's really making a name for himself, at the moment. Rick Graham as well. I think should get a mention because he's a frightening guitarist, and he's a nice guy as well. There's loads of guys. It's just I think the world's big enough that we can all kind of do our own thing. I mean, I think me doing my own instrumental thing, I think I'll probably fit more into maybe Jeff Loomis's style of the heavy shred thing rather than the sort of fusion thing that seems to be really big at the moment. So I think there's definitely room for other styles of instrumental guitar stuff to come out. So I mean, I might even do an acoustic album. It's just
that's great.
Nothing but I mean that might even be the next thing I do because I've just signed an endorsement deal with Lag Guitars, and the guitar I played at Frankfurt Music Show was amazing. And Stefan Forte, who plays in Adagio, he works for Lag, and he's become a friend from doing the Jason Becker gig, and we've stayed in touch ever since. And he was like, come and try out the acoustics. So I did. So when I get my hands on that, I'm gonna hopefully start to do so. I might even re-record some of my instrumental songs that are full on shred heavy songs and do acoustic versions. I'm going to see if I can test myself. That'll be the next challenge, to do something like, I don't know, Angel of Darkness or The Storm on an acoustic.
That would be really awesome.
I think I'll probably hang myself in the process. But why not? I mean, you got to push yourself, right? So I mean, I think I play a lot of acoustic anyway. That's kind of something I play more of than anything else when I'm sat at home and I'm practicing. I normally just practice with an acoustic because it gets you picking really strong and it works on your muscles and stuff.
So, like you say, gearheads would love to know this. The next question: how many guitars do you own? How many amps do you own? And what is your all-time favorite guitar you have ever played with? Apart from your own signature guitar.
Well, okay, yeah, because I was going to say, I mean, that guitar for me is killer, but guitars, I mean, there's not that many. There's a couple of 7 strings. I mean, all the guitars I own are ESPs, so I don't have any others. I've got a couple of Eclipses, that's 4. My H401 that I bought. An MH1000 that I've got. I've got a 7-string E2 at the moment, which is fairly new. So maybe around 6 or 7 guitars, something like that. And I've got a couple of acoustics as well that are ESP ones. And I've got an Ibanez bass.
Oh, that's good.
So maybe I should get an ESP. Amps, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I've kind of owned and sold all my gear. I don't really keep stuff. If I've finished using it, then I'll just sell it. I regret that because I did actually sell my 5150. I had an original Mark II, and I am sad that I've got rid of that. I kind of needed the money at the time, so I just didn't really think about what I had when I sold it. But I used that amp for a long time. I've had various Laneys in the past, but I was in covers bands and stuff, and I needed something that could, cover all the effects and everything without too much, floor work and that. So I had like a couple of Line 6 valve heads, the Bogner valve ones. I had 2 of those, and I used them, and I used that. That was like the amp I used in Sacred for about 3 years, 4 years, something like that. I've still got those actually. But now I'm just, I've got my Laney VH100 set up, which I'm really happy with. Simple pedal board, and the signature guitar. I mean, to be honest, if I was just left with that and all my other guitars got, burnt or stolen, then I could still live without killing myself.
Yeah, they're all like that.
What I follow.
So, what kind of music do you find yourself listening to, apart from the all-instrumental shred kind of music?
I don't really listen to a lot of instrumental shred, to be honest. I like bands like Water Bridge, As I Lay Dying, Killswitch, Five Finger Death Punch, Scar Symmetry. That's one of my favourite bands. Per Nelson's actually one of my favourite guitarists. Black Label Society. I'm a big Zakk Wylde fan, so that's always getting regular play on my iPod. Aussie as well, the Zakk Wylde Aussie stuff. I quite like piano music as well. I've got like an Einaudi album, something like that. I can't really pronounce his name, but it's like a best of sort of piano album. It's pretty cool. I like that. It's nice to jam to as well. I get the acoustic out, put some piano music on, and just practice that.
Have you heard any Indian metal bands or something?
No, but I know Ivan's going to introduce me to some metal stuff when we get to Mumbai.
That's great.
Tomorrow, because we're at Palm for the next couple of days. So, I think he's going to
That's good.
introduced me to some
You're gonna love that.
Indian shred. In fact, actually, Jeff Loomis plays this one ragga scale, which he's kind of learned, which is like an Indian thing, and I've seen it on YouTube, and I've tried to kind of steal that, but I haven't really found a way of being able to use it yet. Hopefully.
Yeah, sweet. So, what advice would you love to give, to the upcoming guitar players about playing, practice routine, or maybe anything else?
I don't know. I mean, for me personally, the only thing that's really benefited me is practice, but not, I mean, like, I've never been into like regimented practice, like saying, oh, I'm gonna play for 2 hours, I'm gonna do this. I just play what I enjoy playing. I mean, the thing is, one thing I will say, it doesn't matter what your skill level is on the guitar or whatever, but just play what you love to play.
Yeah.
Don't be into rock and then learn classical, because what's the point? You're not going to have that love and enthusiasm for that music, Or if you love classical and you hate rock, then don't play, I don't know, rock. So, yeah, I mean, just do what you love to do and just treat it as like a fun thing to do, rather than a stressful thing, thinking, oh, I can't get this lick, and, you end up pulling your hair out. So, yeah, just enjoy it.
That's great. So, thanks a lot talking with us, Sanji.
No
It was a real pleasure, and hope we see you soon back in India with Sacred Mother Tongue sometime soon, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's great.